I had a dream that I was going to live forever. But every time I look outside the window, it's so dark. I think the clock is ticking. And maybe
Hello
my
to all the good
soul
people over the
is
internet.
trying to
Today we have
get
with us
rid
the
of my
singer-songwriter and the musician
mind.
Aamir Rizvi. Once again, thank you so much for joining and taking the time out to do this, Aamir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely, a pleasure, man. Pleasure. So I'll hit you with the first question. Actually, how did your musical journey start? Your family members were musicians. Your background was music, or you had a breakup and gone into music?
Um, no one in the family had any interest with music actually. It was my brother and I when we were very young. He's 5 years older than me. We were very young and we got our first guitar in 2011. And I think that's really the beginning of the journey. I really started taking music seriously 5 years back when I wrote my first single. And from there, in about 3 years back, I actually decided to look at it as a career and as a profession. So the journey has not been like a bad one. It's always been one that's helped me progress in not only in terms of genre but also in terms of life. So yeah, I think music has been a brilliant escape from the harsh realities of the world. But yeah, it's great. So I think that's how music really started. We got our first guitar. We got our first teacher who really didn't like me at all because I was very chubby back in the day, and because of my chubby fingers, he used to think I wasn't capable of playing the guitar. But well, I lost some weight, so I got better at playing the guitar. I guess that, and I started practicing. I used to practice 5 hours a day. I still practice around that much. So yeah, I think that's how music really entered my life, and it is a very important part of my life right now. So,
Interesting. So, what was the age when you started music, not professionally but as a
so
hobby?
I think we got the guitar in 2011. At that time, I was 10 years old. I was 8 years old. So yeah, that's when we really started with music. I started taking it very seriously when I was 14.
Mhm.
When I started writing music. So from there, that's how it started.
Okay, 14. So you started writing your own stuff when you were 14.
Correct. I started writing. My first song was called California Breaking, which a very few, very few people have heard that song, and I
Mhm.
like to keep it that way. But I wrote my first proper single when I was around 14 and a half, called Runaway, which is also the first song I put out on my Spotify.
Mhm.
So
Interesting. I'm waiting. So my story of meeting you, that's interesting. I performed at the CCU festival and then went to Jam Study to watch you, and I heard your songs and I thought isko to bulana mere ko. I need to bring this talent in my platform.
wow.
So
Did
just
you
actually
meet
the
that
CCU
day?
festival happened just day before that. I had a
Yeah,
conversation with Nishit Arora. All right. So after that, I
correct.
thought, okay,
Correct.
let's bring all of the singer songwriters in. So a lot of performers on the in the CCU festival also dropped in, like Whale in the Pond, you, and all of the other
Oh,
fantastic players. Okay. So I heard his songs and
right.
I was like, man, these are beautiful. I need to get this guy somehow. मतलब घसीट के लेके आना है. Please आओ यार.
I see.
So
I see.
yep,
Did
here
you
we
meet
are
that day?
basically. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But did we meet that day? Did you meet me that day? I don't
No, no, you
remember.
were busy with your Squire telecaster, and I didn't disturb you. I was standing in the back, watching people
Yeah.
dance to your songs and hold hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And me single was sitting over on the bench over. Well,
I see.
interesting. Um, so you started writing when you were 14. When did you think of taking it as a career as a musician? And because typical Indian household families don't really shine a lot of light upon choosing music as a career. So how did you think of that? So you
Correct.
sat down with a pen and paper
Um.
and thought of कि यार मेरे को लिखना है अच्छा this is how I make money, this is how I pay my Wi-Fi bill and stuff of that sort.
Um. I think money doesn't play a very big role in my life, considering I'm only 20. But it's only secondary to me. But
Mm-hmm.
music became a very serious thing to me in 2020. Actually, when the pandemic had started, and social media played an important part in my life and in all our lives at that time because we really had nothing else to do. And instead of wasting my life on social media, I wanted to um, be productive in some way on social media. So I got in touch with two people who I consider as my real life heroes that are Raghav Niatal from Bombay
Rag of
slash
Miyako.
Delhi and Mr. Ehsan Nurani from Bombay. And he's also a part of Shankar Ehsan, everybody knows.
Hmm.
So they sort of directly and indirectly really shaped my life and helped me focus on this path, to turn my passion into a profession. So because I think it's because of them that I work very hard daily at this. So yeah, I think 2020. It's been 2.5, 3 years now, almost 3 years. Where it all started with social media, and then I played my first few gigs towards the end of 2020, and then 2021 I transitioned completely into a performing artist, and still am a performing artist. So now I am taking it back to my life of being a recording artist by recording new material, putting out. I put out a song last night with my duo, Raiko and Rizvi. We put out a single called Provos, and
Hmm.
a new song is coming on 29 December, which is my first single in 1.5 years with my elder brother, R. Faraz, who is my biggest source of inspiration. I don't think I would have been a guitarist if I hadn't seen him play when I was young.
Hmm.
Um, just the way he would play and how effortless his playing was really made me think that I mean that's bloody cool what he's doing. And yeah, so he's my biggest source of inspiration. I mean, besides Mr. Raghav Niatal, Ehsan Nurani, Omid Bhatta, he is definitely my biggest source of inspiration, and we still talk about music every day. And I think in this entire world, he's the one true soul who actually helps me pursue that dream of mine of being a musician and encourages me to keep at it even sometimes when I think of heading into that corporate lifestyle, which thankfully I haven't done yet. But he's that one kind soul who actually helps me realize that dream every day. So I think that's how music really started as a very very serious profession. And touch wood, and thanks to the universe, things are working well right now.
The planets are aligned perfectly. So you also have been, apart from writing and recording and releasing material, you also have been like doing commercial works like ads and films and all of that.
I've I worked on a few jingles. I'm a session player. Where I do sessions for others. I did a session for a label here called Abbey. Then I helped a few musicians in Bombay and in Delhi. I did a session today. I had a friend who's from here only, from Techno India.
Hmm.
So yeah, I haven't really entered into that commercial scene of where I do advertisements and where I do jingles every week. I At some point I hope I get into that because I think it's very innovative. I think it really tests your creativity. So hopefully things will work out and I'll get to do a few jingles because I really love jingles. So yeah.
Pretty interesting. How do you write your songs? Like how do you compose them? Right? Because I don't know about others. I really like them. Like how do you sit and think that okay, this is the structure. This will be the chord progression. Okay, let me put a flat -7 here, not a G sharp major, something like that. So,
I think a lot of people give the complex term of the songwriting process, which
haha.
I really don't like that term at all. What's the songwriting process? There's no process. It's just
Hmm.
natural.
Random.
I
Hmm.
think, in my opinion, it's very natural because of the fact that I am primarily a guitarist as well. Maybe I'm a 40% guitar. I'm a 60% guitarist and a 40% songwriter. I always sit down with my melodies first. I don't have to really sit down and be like I'm gonna play this particular chord and that particular chord. It's just or this particular riff. It just starts with how I'm playing something, and if it goes with my mood, I try to work more on it, and then we form a progression, a chord progression. And on top of that, I try to sing the first line that comes to my mind, and then I work more on that, makes it a verse, and then it's a chorus. I really like the concept of bridges in songs. I try to add bridges in my songs because that's like a different part of the story. I think in my opinion, a song is basically a story from the perspective of songwriter, and that's what I try to do in the best way possible. Like most of my songs are never pretentious songs about spring and autumn and winter and shit like that.
Pancakes.
I would always I would always want. Uh, I actually have pancakes in a song of mine, but that's a very real story of me actually having pancakes. But that's a
Okay.
different thing. I try to write my songs on my life experiences. um, People can consider it to be a happy experience or a sad experience. That's up to them. I know how I really felt when I wrote that particular song. So I think, yeah, I just like to be very true in my work because otherwise I'd just be caving in, and I don't want to do that. So yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know if I properly answered your question about how I write a song, but I mean, this is the best. This is the most honest I can be because this is exactly how I do it. Like I start with the progression, and then that's where the lines come in. And then maybe if I there are many times where I'm not satisfied with the line that I've sung in the first take itself, so I sit down on it and I re-record, I rethink that line through. Maybe that line doesn't make sense at all, and I try to write something back. So I think it's a very simple way. There's nothing complex about it at all. I think simplicity is beautiful at times, most times. So
All the time.
all yeah,
Let's complete. Interesting.
yeah.
How many songs did you write? How many lyrics did you write before considering that, okay, this is good enough? मेरे को सुनने में ही अच्छा लग रहा है. So this is how you drew the trial and error thing?
I'll tell you a story about a song of mine. It's called "I Think I'll Wait for You." It's a song of mine that is there on SoundCloud. Actually, I haven't put it out yet on my Spotify. It's going to be with my duo Riker in this week. But
Mm-hmm.
the story about "I Think I'll Wait for You" is very simple, and I'll tell you based on this question, right? Uh, First of all, the song has two chords. That's it throughout the entire song. And based on the two chords, I wrote two lines, which is "I think I'll wait for you," and "I'm okay with it too." And that's the entire song. And there's just the other lines that are there are sort of like buffer lines, is what I like to call them, where it's like where I try to build onto the song. I don't want people to think it's a monotonous song. So I think that song has about five lines or six lines, but that song is about 5 minutes long. So I think that's how it doesn't really matter to me how many lines I write for a song. A few songs have about 45, 46 lines, and a few songs have like six or seven lines. That has never really mattered, and I don't think it ever matters to a songwriter really. Like some songs, in some songs a bridge is necessary, and in some songs a bridge is not. I mean, I don't see what's the point in criticizing songs that are 2 minutes long and they only have two verses and two verses. I don't think that's commercial. I just think that's how they like their song. So that's fine. That's how they think, and I'm okay with it.
That's an interesting little story.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this very new, trendy, and all the other adjectives joined term, the independent music scene? Do you consider it as independent?
Um, to a very large extent, yeah. Um, I I mean, I'm thankful that I know the independent music scene across the country. And it's blooming. If I'm being very honest, I'm glad and thankful that some people consider me a part of that scene. It makes me feel very good, honestly. But if I'm being honest, it's blooming. Absolutely, it's fantastic. There are brilliant songwriters out there, and from each part of the country, be it south, north, west, or east. Um, it's absolutely brilliant, and it's fantastic. Like there are some brilliant labels. So once you sign to a label, you're not really an independent artist, but I think some of the labels are doing a great job helping the artists be who they really want to be. You can just see that in their songwriting. So
Mm.
I think, yeah, the independent music scene, if you ask me, I am a big supporter of that. I will always support that because I don't have anything against Bollywood. Believe me, I don't. I love Bollywood. Like I love some of the Bollywood music, like Vishal Dadlani, Shankar
Yeah,
Sharma,
for
and
sure, for sure.
Jeeves,
Yeah.
and I don't want to take anything from them, but because of their widespread influence, independent music is often shadowed,
Mm.
and it's nobody's fault. Believe me, it's not. But um,
Like that's how it
for the
has been
independent
for
music
like
scene,
many, many years.
absolutely for decades,
Mm-hmm.
it's nobody. I don't think it's anybody's fault really, but I feel that in today's day and age, if the country and if the venues, if the music organizations, and if promoters want the independent music scene to bloom and to blow up so that they can be proud of their city or their country, they need to be there for the musicians commercially and physically, really, like in terms of venues, right? It's not just. I think a bigger problem is there in Calcutta. I don't know. I mean, I've been sort of happy with Calcutta, but I've not been at 100% satisfaction with Calcutta's music scene, and I don't really care what people will say about that. But it's just how I can say that because I've been around the country now and I've seen what massive talent there is outside Calcutta.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in this bubble. I love this bubble. Believe me, I love this city. I love the people here. I love everybody here. But there's just so much more outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when you really need to step up their game. It's not just Canada. It's really India. I think a very simple way is if a big artist is coming, it's fantastic that they're coming to the city, but you should represent your local talent.
Yeah.
That's what's necessary. I think that's the best thing you can do to support your local talent. So people who are there to watch, maybe I don't know, an Anup Jain or a Pratik Kuhar will also see, an Aamir Rizvi or Bhavishya Balani or Aditya Mujumdar or somebody like that. That's how it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with giving someone a 15 minute set. Believe me, it's not. It's hard. It's irrelevant, but it means the world to these artists. And
Mm-hmm.
I think cover music has been a bigger problem of that as well. Um, yeah, even at festivals, I sometimes hear people uh, making performing cover music, which really bothers me. But yeah, I think that's the life they choose. So I can't judge that in any way. But I just hope that the independent music scene keeps growing and people keep writing their music and people keep staying true to who they are. I think that's very important. There's some brilliant songwriters from around the world. I think from Calcutta, there's no one better than Parik and Singh. There probably
Mm-hmm.
never will be anyone better than Parik and Singh. Here in Calcutta, there's Shorja Sinha from Within the Bond. He's incredible,
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Yeah.
Um, from the Northeast, I know Abdon Mek. I'm just a massive fan of hers. I think he's fantastic. From Bhopal, there's Shikhar. From Pune, there's Nida. From Bombay, there's Nihal and Arham. I could go on, man. From Delhi, there's Samad, Samad Khan. Fantastic, fantastic singer, songwriter, and the list really goes on, and it's it's bloody brilliant, man. Like from Bangalore, there's Frizzell D'Souza. She's fantastic,
Present
like
D'Souza.
an
Yeah.
incredible singer. Probably what I would consider the Lizzie McAlpine of India, but I don't want to give her that tag of being the Lizzie McAlpine of India because she's so fabulous. She's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. I'm a huge fan of her. So it's fantastic to see these artists come up. It's fantastic to see them do what they really want to do. Sincerely hope they're doing what they really want to do. So I think that's what I feel of the independent music scene, that it's something fantastic, something great. It's fabulous.
So you think it's gonna grow through the upcoming years? A lot of original music is gonna grow.
That's my that's my only hope at this point. So
Hmm. Okay, interesting. That's an interesting little thing. Okay, new songs, new EPs, albums coming out from your side.
on 29th December, I have a single coming out, which is a song with my big brother. He goes
Mhm.
by the stage name R Faraz. He's a deep house music producer. So we made our first track together with my lyrics and my guitar playing, my singing, and he's producing beats. Very excited for that song. That song is called Forward. It's gonna come out on 29th December. I'm very excited for that. I've recorded a lot of material with Suchain Mitra. We have a duo together called Raiko and Rizvi. We have got some fantastic material coming up. It's something I kind of like right now. He put out a new single today, actually, last night. But yeah, we put out a song today. I have 6 songs ready that hopefully I'll be releasing as singles in 2023 or as an EP, whatever
Mhm.
works. So yeah, it's like I said in the very beginning. I think these last 15 to 16 months I've been a hardcore performing artist. But now I'm really considering going back to my roots
Ah,
and doing what I doing what I love the most, which is songwriting and putting out my original music. So I'm excited about that. So
yeah. So a lot of new stuff coming from your side. I'll be waiting. A lot of us actually
yeah,
are gonna be waiting. Okay, probably the
okay,
last
yeah,
question of
that,
the end. Yeah, please go on.
yeah, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. So are we, man. So are we. Especially me, man. I mean, I love your songs. um,
thank you.
Probably the last question of the podcast. Then I'll set you free. Otherwise, you'll beat me up. Um,
No, no.
3 tips forward slash advices for all of the independent singer songwriters and artists and musicians out there.
Be consistent. Number one, most important thing. You gotta commit to who you want to be. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. Tomorrow I could be a doctor, but if I don't study for my medical exam, it's pointless. So it's very important to be consistent at who you are, who you want to be. Know about your scene, know about your local scene, go to concerts, go to gigs, support your fellow artists. This world is full of hate. So there is no point hating on other musicians. There is no point on hating on your own people. I fucking hate it when people are jealous of each other.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. So support each other because no one else will support us. I'm just being very honest. There's no one else is going to support us. So you have to be there for each other. Three would know your concerts, know your scene, know your industry. It's something I am learning through every single day. I'm learning new things about the music industry, the commercial side of it. There's a lot to the industry besides just the art. So I'm learning
Hmm.
that more day after day. Um, that's very important. Most importantly, never cave in. Like stand up for who you are, stand up for yourself, and be who you want to be. I think that's very important. And if you want to make music that resonates with you, you should make that music and not cancel that because you feel the crowd or the audience won't like that kind of music. I think that is not really cool. You should really make the kind of music you want to make. And yeah, I think that that will help. And if you want to be a performing artist, if you want to be like an artist who wants to gig around, you gotta have your portfolio ready. Your portfolio can include where you performed. If you've never performed before, your demo videos should always be ready. You should know 50 to 60 songs at the back of your head. And if anyone asks you to play a 3 hour gig tomorrow night, in less than 24 hours, you should be able to do it. I think that's very important, especially. And being a musician is kind of useless if I mean I don't want to say that it's useless. Being a musician without playing gigs is a very lonely life.
Yeah.
Because the gigs are where you connect with the people. the audience. I mean, sure, receiving a message about your song being great and people liking it is an amazing feeling. But them saying that to you when you're on stage or when you're down and when they ask you, can we get a quick picture with you, is the best feeling in the world, especially when you're an independent artist. So I think that's very important. Gigs are very important. There are some brilliant venues now in Calcutta, thank God. There are venues that are opening up, people who are supporting English music. I have been blessed to play on those venues. I play on those venues daily. So there's really no excuse for us. We just have to start working. It's important. And don't feel sad or don't feel disheartened if your first song doesn't hit 1,000 streams in the first week. My song hit 4,000 streams in 4 years. That numbers shouldn't really matter to you. What matters is how you feel about your song, and the most important thing would be to work on your craft. I
Yeah,
think I
I say that all the
the
time.
most important thing is to work on your craft. If you want to be a guitarist, you should know how to play, not just your basic nut chords, but how to go around the fretboard, I guess.
Mhm.
So um, working on your craft, being consistent, being who you are, supporting others is very important. And whoever listens, best of luck to you. And thank you so much for having me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
for
It's an
sure,
honor.
for sure. Absolutely, for sure. Once again, like, thank you so very much for joining. For the audience, I'm saying who's listening to this podcast, I'll leave all of the songs, all of the work this guy has ever made in the description. Please do check them out. Support all of the artists. And once again, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart, man.
Thank
And
you.
I'll ask for a picture
Thank
on
you
the
so
next gig I see you. Don't worry.
much. Super. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a great week ahead. Good night.
Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye bye.